Hey, this is Passy from Passy's World of ICT, the guy with the white hat. And today we got a Visual Basic programming lesson, and we're going to kind of make a prototype for our Tennis Dream Team and show you guys how you can link VB screen forms into each other. So what we're going to do is have this demonstration prototype and make all the screen forms linked together just by doing some simple VBNet coding on each form. So here we've got our login form, and if you put in a correct user ID and password and click the login button, that will open up the main menu. And from the main menu screen, you're going to be able to click on button player 1, and then player 1's profile details will come up, and there'll be a close button on that screen so you can close that screen down, and then you'll be back at the main menu. If you click on player 2, you get Anna, player 2's profile, player 3's profile, click close to close it, and player 4 profile. And then we've got an, as we said here, we've pretty much been through that with you. And at the bottom, we'll have an exit button so that you can click on that, and that will close down all of these forms and exit out of the application. So that's what we're doing today. We're making a prototype for our Tennis Dream Team. So in a fully finished version, you'd be able to edit this text for the player biography, but this one won't. This will just have this as an image that's showing up there, and you can read it, but you cannot edit or update or delete anything. So it's not a fully working VBNet application. It's just a prototype which you could show to a client. All right, now remember, I'm a bit of a slow talker, so make sure you go to this tools cog on the YouTube player bar and just click on that and go to playback speed and make it 1.5 or 1.75, and you'll find that the video flows a lot better. Now, this is a very long video, quite a long lesson, so make sure you take breaks and use the index video timeline so that if you finish at one particular section, what you can then do is you can go, okay, I'm ready to do this bit here, finish it off and completing. And so you can click on that one next time you come back. And that timeline index that's in the video description, that will take you to that exact point at the video and you can continue. Right, so that's it there. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to do the following: create a multiple screen forms app like we showed you, how you can actually pass text box data and variable data from one screen form over to another screen form, use picture boxes just to make mock-up prototypes of screens, build a template screen from which we're going to make those prototype screen images, learn how VBNet opening and closing forms and hiding forms, create a very simple, this is going to be very simple, there won't be much hard coding of VBNet code to do it all to make this prototype, link the screens together, main menu screen that's going to have the buttons where you can go to all the other screens, close for each pop-up, and an exit button to shut down the application. So now, prior learning before this lesson, this is quite a simple lesson, but as soon as you already know how to make the actual screen form, so you know how to do text boxes, picture boxes, group boxes, and buttons. Now, if you don't know how to do any of that yet, you need to go to our course, go to our YouTube playlist on Passy's World of ICT YouTube channel and find this one, Rectangle Perimeter Area Calculator. Do that lesson because that's going to show you how to make text boxes, how to make labels, how to make group boxes, and how to do buttons and how to do basic programming in VBNet. So you need some sort of background in VBNet. It's not a complete beginner's lesson, but if you just did this one and understood that, then you could come ahead and do this one about linking screens. So if you want to make the one we're making in this video, there are downloads available. So you go to the video description and it'll have where you can go to get all of these downloads. And we've got some images of tennis players which we took at the Australian Open a couple of years ago. And also it's got a PDF of this full step-by-step instructions which we're going to go through in this video. And so that will set you up. So you may want to just kind of get the downloads, get the video step-by-step instructions, and just try working from them. And then when you have problems, you can come to the video, go to the timeline index and look at that section. Just watch the video for that if you don't want to watch the whole video. Now, using data from different forms, how do you do this? So if we've got two forms in the same project, but you want to access data which someone entered on the other form, and you've now gone to form number 2, how do you do that? You do it by name referencing. So this is form 1, and we've had someone enter in Juanita Santa Maria into this text box. And also within the coding for that form, that when that form loaded up, we had this variable set up string great name, and the great name was Paul Passy. And so that's in memory as well. So this will be in memory, what the contents of the text box, this program variable will be in memory. They're both on form 1. Now, if we want to go to form 2 and bring that data up, and have it display Juanita Santa Maria on this other form, and also get what that variable data is, that can be done quite easily. And what we can do is just have some simple code that references form 1. It does full name referencing, okay? So let's go have a look at the code now. And the code, what we do is, here's form 1, like we were saying, we've just defined a variable and got Paul Passy in that variable, and also they've typed Juanita Santa Maria in the text box. Now on form 2, to have this display here like this, shown where it's retrieved that information from form 1 and from information from the form 1 program, what we do is we just say, okay, the label name text for in here on form 2, that just needs to equal form1 dot text name dot text. So rather than have the text box text name and its contents dot text, you actually have to say form 1 to tell VBNet to go back to form 1, look at the text box on that form and get the data. And likewise, if we want to get the variable data out of the form 1 program, you just say go to form 1 and get this variable string great name, whatever contents that was. All right, so it's pretty easy. You just use what's called full name referencing if you need to get data from one form and display it on another different form. So that's that done and out of the way. We can tick that off. Now the rest of this is going to be doing the Tennis Dream Team prototype, and that'll take a while, but let's just refresh and go back just how in Visual Studio 2019 you create a new project. All right, so for this prototype, we're going to be creating a new project. And so remember, you start up, go to the start menu down here, the start button, start typing Visual, and provided you've downloaded and installed it, you should have Visual Studio 2019. So you click on that, and that'll open up this panel. And what all we need to do is we just want to create a new project. So you click on this, and then away we go to another screen. So the Create New Project screen comes up. Now on this screen, because we're doing Visual Basic, because there's so many different programs, you can do C# in Visual Studio, you can even do some Python work, you can do all sorts of things. We need to set all these windows, these selectors up with these drop-down lists with these little triangle arrows you click. Click this one and make sure it's on Visual Basic. This one we want Windows, and this one we want to be on desktop. Now that will provide a filter so that we only get these projects here, but which project do we pick? And the common mistake is to pick the first one that has .NET Framework in it, and that's not actually the right one, okay? They all look kind of similar in name, but there's one specific one we need that will work for our project. So don't click that one, and don't click that one either. You need this one, Windows Forms App .NET Framework. So make sure that one with that exact words in it is the one you click on and pick, and then you click the next button. All right, our students often pick the wrong one to use, and then they're trying to do things in either the program code or on the form, and they find suddenly nothing works the way it's expected to. It's because back at the start they didn't select Windows Forms App .NET Framework, and if you have not got the right one at the start, you kind of can't go back later on and fix it, all right? Now, we've still got some more to do. We've got steps 4 and 5 for whenever we set up a new project. So we need to give it a project name. So we're just typing in this box, Tennis Team Prototype. And then we need to, don't have VBNet Visual Studio, just save it off in here because it's too hard to get into these C drive folders and find stuff. So make sure you click that triple dots button, which will open up your File Explorer. And we've just gone down to where we want to save it. 33 link screens is where we're putting this one. And so that folder, we just click on that folder and go select folder, okay? And then we go create. And that should put this named project into this folder and make ourselves a new VB.NET project, or a new program if you like. Now the new program will have, you know, form 1 there, the blank form 1 like it always does, but we want to add a new form. We want to have a login form. So we're just going to leave the blank form 1 sitting there, and we're going to make our own forms, and form 1 will just sit there blank the whole time, and we'll just never reference it, okay? And then that will be fine. So we're going to add a new form, which to make a login form. So you need to go up to the project tab in Visual Studio and do add form, all right? So you go up to project and you go add form. Now what should happen is it should have automatically gone to here, Windows Forms, but make sure it's on form, make sure it's on this one, it's clicked on this one, give it a name. So down here we've typed login form.vb, and then click the add button, all right, so that we can add that form on. All right, that'll make a new blank form, and we just set ours up by putting in a big label here with big writing, Tennis Dream Team Login. And we also just set the back color of that particular label. And we've got a text box here and a text box here, a couple of labels and a button and a picture box with a picture in it. And you can get that picture in the downloads for this lesson. All right, now what we're going to also do is, so that the password's hidden when they type it in, because most systems you use now have this come out as hidden, we're just going to go to click on that text box, and in the properties, you just set password char. Instead of it being blank, you set it to asterisk, which you get by holding down Shift and 8 on your keyboard to get the star or the asterisk. And that way, when they type their password in, it's just going to be star, 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 and hidden from view. Just an extra security feature, all right? So we're going to set that up. Now, we need to make that new login screen we've just made run first, because at the moment, if you try and run this application using the green start button up the top, what's going to happen is it's just going to run that blank form 1 because it's set up to run that one first. But we want to make our login form that we've just made, we want that to be the one that runs first instead. So how you do that is you have to right click on the application in the Solution Explorer and change the startup form option, all right, so that this one will be the one that starts up. Now we're not showing you exactly the full steps of making that because you should know that already. If you don't, remember, go back and do that perimeter area one that we showed you at the start, and then you'll know how to do all this stuff. All right, so what you do is you go to Solution Explorer. Now, if Solution Explorer is not showing sort of up the top right-hand corner of your project, you might have to go Windows Solution Explorer or View Solution Explorer. I can't remember exactly what it is, but you'll have to set it so it's turned on and visible. And then it'll have Tennis Team Prototype here, whatever you saved your project as, the new one that you made. So right-click on that, and right down the very bottom here where the spanner is, Properties is what you need. So you click on Properties, all right? And that will bring up the properties. We need to be on the application properties, so make sure you clicked on that one. And down in here, there's a startup form option. You can see it's on form 1 at the moment. If you click this down arrow, you can change it, all right? So you click the down arrow and change it to be the login form that we made, all right? So we want that to run first instead. And then there's no kind of save button or update or close button on here. What you have to do is just go to this X that's up the top, all right? And when you close it using that X up the top, it'll actually save the work that will save the changes that you've done. So we've made that change and saved them. So click the start button up the top, and you should find that your login form runs like this, and that we don't see form 1 starting up at all. If form 1 is starting up, go back and try and do this again, and it needs to have your form as the startup form, and then you should be right. Okay, so we've got our login screen made. So if you need to take a break now, we've been going 15 minutes, take a break now and then just use the video timeline index to come back to where you were, and we're going to be up to making the main menu screen. Okay, so making the main menu screen, that's another form we're going to make. So we'll have to do that whole add new form process again by clicking project and then add new form. We call this form main menu. And what we're going to set up on this is, you know, the same sort of big heading, a little subheading. This guy here is a group box, and just change the text of the group box to say choose a player. And then in here we've got 4 picture boxes and we've got 4 buttons. Now the buttons we're going to reference in the code, so they will need to be given special names. Nothing else on the form really needs a special name. So the special name you need to assign to each button is BTN player 1. This one here, player 2, that button you need to make sure it's called BTN player 2, BTN player 3, BTN player 4, and this one here that's going to close down the application, that one's just called BTN exit. All right, so make sure you've assigned those special names into the button's properties, otherwise when we get up to the code later on it won't work. So we need to make 4 screens now containing 4 player profiles. And for the prototype, each of these, it's just going to be a picture box on the form. It's not going to actually have things you can enter into text boxes and type or anything. And if you're making a profile, a prototype system for an application, so maybe your main menu has that they can go to customers and they can go to jobs, okay? So when they click the customers button, it's just going to go to this screen, which has a list of customer names and maybe their emails and phone numbers just going down the screen, all right? And you could just set that up on a form and type in some data on the form and then just use the Windows snipping tool to get or print screen button and crop it in Photoshop. Either way, just capture that information, all right, and save it as an image, okay? And that way, you could also make another version of that form with some more customers on it by typing some more things in and then do your screen print, save that image, crop it down to have the information you want, and then that gives you another screen you can go to as well, all right? So we're just making images at the moment. We're not saving things to files or doing anything complicated. We're trying to keep it as simple as possible. So what we did was we made this template. So we had this screen, which was kind of the blank screen, which we were going to fill in and then take screen prints of, so that we could do it 4 times and have 4 different players' profiles. So we made this template form first. So we've just got form 1 with text, player profile, back color, system color is hot track. Now, should it be form 1? It doesn't need to be form 1 because form 1's the one we're leaving as it is and not using. So we'll just call that template form there. Sorry about this, but you just got to fix things as you go, otherwise you forget to fix them. All right, so it'll be right in the download instructions when you get them. Template form with text, player profile, back color there we're using is hot track. So we're going the system colors and using hot track to get that nice bright blue. Group box, that's a big group box all around there. We've just blanked out the text, so there is no text on it. This is just a label, and the back color of that is Alice Blue. We've got a text box here. We've got a panel that we've put in that's light steel blue to sit behind the picture box. And I think this one has a light blue panel as well. And the picture box sits on top of it. And then we've just got a button on the bottom. And we need to, temporarily, we're going to make this form run first so that we can run it with different picture box pictures in it and different text that we've pasted into it, and then we can get a print screen of it. So remember, you can just go back and do that right click on the application name, go to the properties, just make this template form which you're making, make that the first one to run temporarily, and then later on we can change it back to login form. So making the player 1 profile, all we did was that we just, in this picture box, we just put some stats, a picture of some stats. Now that we did with the snipping tool from Windows. Now, if you don't know how to use the snipping tool, let's just go through it quickly. You just do start, and then you start typing snip, okay, and it should bring up the snipping tool, okay, and you go to snipping tool, and you go new, Now, let's say this, and you'll notice your screen grays out. Now, if everything's wrong, just minimize it, okay? And then go back to it and start it up again and go new. All right, and we'll just kind of move it up out the way here. So say that I wanted this to be the image, which is that I want to capture, right? So I just trace around there, pushing my mouse down, and now it's in the snipping tool, and I can go File, Save As, and I can save this somewhere as a JPG file, all right? So that's the basics of using the snipping tool. All right, so what we've done is we went to Wikipedia and there are some stats there. So we just drew around them with the snipping tool and saved that information as a JPEG. We've now just put that JPEG into that picture box. This is a picture you can get from the downloads and that goes in that middle picture box. We've just edited the label up here to say the name of the player. Player 1 is Alden Setkic from Bosnia, Herzegovina, and in here, what we do is there's a text file you can get from the downloads and you can paste the information in here. Then we've gone in and made for our application that this profile template form, this guy here is going to be the one that runs first. Oh, actually, no, we don't put that in yet. We leave that blank, sorry. Then we make this one run. And then when that text box is sitting there while it's running, then we open up the text file from the downloads, paste that in and just tidy it up so it looks okay. And then we're ready to get our snipping tool and we just draw around all of this kind of blue box with a little bit of the bright blue hot track round as well. So we're just getting that. And we're saving that image, okay? So that's being saved as an image, that's not a form. So we've just traced around there with the snipping tool and saved it. And we've now got this image, okay, of our player profile information. You could also press the print screen button on your computer, take this into Photoshop and use cropping to crop it down. So you've just got that information. But either way, you just want this information saved as an image, all right? Outside of VBNet, it's just saved as a JPEG. All right, now we repeat those same steps using our template screen and put different pictures in. So we put the stats for Anna in, we put her picture from the downloads, we run it, and then we open up the text file that comes in the downloads for Anna and we paste her information in and just tidy it up. And make it look good. Then we capture that with the snipping tool and save it as an image. So we do all of this for all 4 of our players and we have 4 images here, which are our profile images. Now, to make the screen forms is very easy once we have the images containing all the data we need, because all we do is you just make 4 new forms, add, project add form, and they're player 1 profile, player 2 profile, player 3, and player 4. That's what we call them. And on each of those, you just have a big picture box here and insert that stuff you saved as an image, and then also put a close button on this. Also drag out a button and make it a close button and save that one. And that's your player 1 profile VB screen done. Then all you have to do, okay, is just make this other new form, player 2 profile. It also has a giant picture box here. In that picture box, you put in the image you made previously, and then also have a close button on there. So we do that, we've got our 4 screens, which is going to bring up our player profiles when people click on the main menu to request seeing a profile. So now all we've got to do is make all these forms link up. So we've got our login form done, and what we want is that when it's the right user and password, it's going to open up the main menu, and then when you're on the main menu, you can click any of those player buttons and their player profile screen will pop up and you can read the stats and the biographical text information for them. All right, so that should get us onto this. This one should open up. If we click player 1 button, it should go to player 1 and so on. And we have an exit button there that's going to close the whole thing down. So all we need to do now is some simple Visual Basic coding, which will enable all that magic to happen. And then we're done. All right, so we're 24 minutes into the video. So if you want to take a break at this stage and just have all your screens set up. You need some sort of login screen. You need a main menu. It doesn't have to be this tennis dream team. Like I said, it could be for some business, and you could have buttons here to list the customers, list the jobs, list employees, or whatever you're doing. And then you've kind of made a fake screen as an image here that lists employee stuff, and this one has job stuff, and maybe this one has customer things on it, but it's just a fake screen that's just an image. People can't go in and click on it and do anything or edit any of the text on it. It's just simply there to display as part of the prototype. All right, so take a break, and then in the video timeline, come back to making the forms link up and click on that and continue. Okay, so let's get all this coding done. So the first coding we're going to do is that when you are on that login screen, if you enter the right user ID, we're going to set up that the user ID we're going to use is tennis fan. So you have to put tennis fan in without a space, and the password's going to be passy1. Now just note here, we're not seeing the stars where it's hidden. We've kind of turned that off while we're doing this. So that we can do it. And make sure you set this, go back and set the solution properties, remember, to make the login form run first, because we were playing around with that, and I think we had the template profile form running. We want to make sure login form is the first one that runs when we press the green start button on the application. Now, provided they've got that correct, they should be able to click that login button, and we want this main menu form screen to come up. So how do we do the coding on this form? The login form, what sort of coding do we need to make all of that happen? All right, so this is the coding we need. So double click the login button on that login form, and that should write this code, private sub, handling the event for when someone clicks the button. And in here we need to have if the text user ID text, so if what's inside that text box equals tennis fan, and also we also require that what's in this text box here, the text in text password, TXT password, that's the name of that text box, that has to equal passy1. Now, if that's all okay, then what we can do is we can hide this form. Now, you can't write login form.hide. This form's called login form, and so you'd think here you'd write login form.hide, but then you kind of reference a form name inside the form, and you can't do referencing inside in Visual Studio. So you just say me. Me means the current thing that's running. So me in this case would be the login screen, because that's the current thing running. So just say me.hide. So it might take you a while to get used to that idea, but it's just me.hide, and that's going to hide this screen. So that screen's done with and it disappears. And we want this screen to show up now. So you just use main menu, the name of that screen form, .show brackets, all right? So that's what's going to happen if they get the user ID and password correct. Now, if either of these doesn't work properly, if they've put the wrong thing in, it should go to the else. And what the else is going to do is just going to pop up this message box showing that we got an invalid user ID or password. Please try again, and login failed is going to be up the top of the message box. Okay, that's what it's going to say up the top. All right, so all of that code, once you get that entered in for this login button and we test it with the green arrow running it, it should get this open. Now, because we haven't coded the exit button for that main menu yet, and we've left this form, you'll have to just press the stop button. So at the moment, when you run this to test it, remember, it won't close down unless you press this stop button up the top of the Visual Studio screen, all right? So just be aware of that. Okay, so when we test this, what happens is we've got tennis fan and passy1 entered in there, okay? And that works and takes us to the main menu. Now notice, remember, we were saying in here, it's not coming out as stars, because we're not masking it or hiding it, because we want to see what it is while we're testing it. So we've temporarily turned that masking off. What you do is on this text box, just go in the properties, and where it's got password char, we set it up to asterisk, just backspace so that's blank, and then we'll be able to see what's typed into there. So that's all good. Now, what happens if they get the password or the user ID wrong? So let's try if they type in Harry with a password of pumpkin, that's definitely not right. So we get the error message. And notice it says login failed at the top because that was the last thing we had on that message box instruction. Then it's got invalid user ID or password. We had those carriage return line spaces in the code. So it's left a couple of lines, please try again. And you click OK and that message closes, and then they'll have to try again. And it'll keep giving them that fail message until they get Tennis Fan and Passy 1. And when they finally get it correct, they will get to the main menu. So that's a basic kind of login screen done just by hard coding in the program. It's not really secure, and what you should be doing is having a file that's written to with all the passwords, and then have the program read the file and all that. But we're just trying to knock up something quickly, put something together quickly here for a prototype. So just hard coding it. So that's that bit done. Now the next step we'll do is we'll make the main menu exit button work. So we've got that main menu, and so just double click on that exit button to go in the code for it. And the code you need is that we're just going to use this dim the confirm message as integer, confirm message equals, are you sure you want to log off? And up the top, it's going to say exit and close. So that's how that code works. And see, it says, are you sure you want to log off? The type it is information. That's why that I's got there. So see here we got message box icon dot information. That puts that I there. Now the yes and no options come from this, message box buttons dot yes no. All right, so this is kind of built into Visual Studio, and that's how you format it to get this guy to appear. Now, if they choose yes, well, what will happen is if the confirm message equals VB yes, so they've clicked the yes button, all of the forms in our application need to be closed down. All right, so me.close, the current active one, the main menu, plus all these other forms we've got, just make sure they're all closed. Even if one isn't open at the moment or not showing, it doesn't do any harm to try and close it. We just need to make sure everything's closed, and then that's done. Everything will shut down and the application finishes. Now, if they click no, if they go, oh, actually, no, I don't want to exit, that's okay. We just want it to do nothing. We want it to stay on this main menu form. How you do that is you just have it exit this subroutine. So it's in a subroutine at the moment. Just put in the VB Visual Basic command exit sub, and that's going to get them out of that subroutine. So that's how we do the exit button. And when we test it, it all works okay. We got a confirmation message there. And if they click yes, it will shut everything down and exit okay. So make sure you test that's working. So all we need to do now is make the profile forms work when they click those player 1, player 2 buttons on the main menu. So click on the player 1 button, and this is the code we need. All we need to do is make the player 1 profile screen that we made, just make that show up, make it appear. So we're not going to shut the main menu. The way we're going to do it is we're going to have the main menu still sitting there in the background, but you click player 1, and then the player 1 profile just pops up on top of it, and you can read that, and then you can close it, and you're automatically back here just having the main menu show. But when we went to test that, we had a little bit of a glitch and a problem because not all of our information was fitting on properly. Some of it got chopped off, and also our close button said close. It didn't say close, okay? It said the name of some person called Klaus. Hello, Klaus. Sounds like someone who'd be riding a bike in the Tour de France. So we need to fix those things up. Now this was easily fixed. Just go to the picture box and on its properties, set the size mode to be zoom or stretch image, and then that fixed that up. We had it on normal, and that's why it truncated and chopped off and didn't fit. So don't use normal for the size mode. Make sure the size mode properties set the zoom or stretch image. And just in design view, just grab the end of that close button and make it a little bit oversized and bigger. And when we did that, it was all fixed up. Now, for the close button on that form, double click on the close button on that form, and all we need to say is me.close. So it closes that currently active form. And so what should happen then is you've clicked player 1, the profile comes up. When you click that close button there, this one just disappears, it closes itself down and goes away, and the main menu that was sitting behind it, that's what we see now. And we could click a different player, or we could choose to exit the application. All right, so we got player 1 working for you and showed you how to do it. Should be pretty easy for you to get player 2, 3, and 4 buttons working. So that's your little challenge task. So if they click the player 2 button, we get the Anna Blinkova screen up. And she also made, I think, quarterfinals of the Australian Open in 2021, January 2021. So that was pretty good. This was back earlier days. We took this photo. Then we've got Bernarda Pera, who was her partner in the doubles back in, I think, 2019 or 2018. Probably 2018, I think. And then we've got John Patrick Smith, the Australian player here. All right, so you just need to make all these buttons go to the right people and give their statistics, picture of them, and their biographical information in this text box. All right, so now if you did want to make this a proper application that saves values to files, you could go in and you could edit the biography of someone and change it and save it and all those sorts of things. You could delete a player profile and put a different player onto your system and all that sort of thing. Then you need to go through all of these lessons that are in our YouTube playlist for Visual Basics. So there's quite a few lessons there to go through if you wanted to have like this, where you can actually enter player information. You've got a save button, you can save it, you can delete it if you want it, you can use plus to add a new one, you can just quickly flick through them with the arrows, all that fancy stuff where you're saving that information into a formatted XML file. Well, to bring it up to that proper level of a real application, well, then you need to do all of these other lessons which are here. So we do have the full Visual Basic Programming course. So that's on the Passie's World of ICT website, not on the YouTube channel. So that's at passieworldofict.com. And you click the programming button to go into the programming course for Visual Studio. All right, so let's just show you that quickly. Okay, so we've just gone into Google Chrome search for Passie's World of ICT with the apostrophe in it. And here it is here, passieworldofict.com. So if you go to that website, we've got lots of courses. We've got courses like on MS Access Database. If it would run a little faster, that'd be nice. But that's not the course we want to do. We want to do the programming course. So click on the programming button here, and here we go. Here's our Visual Studio programming course. So we've got all these lessons, and if you do them in order, that's the full course, because each lesson assumes you already know the stuff in the other lesson. So for example, we even got a couple of Python ones thrown in there. Where's the one? This one here, rectangle perimeter area. All right, so that was the one we told you need to have done before you did this linking forms one. So if you click here to go to the lesson, what that does is it takes you to the screen, tells you what the lesson's about with a few screenshots there and an overview of what it is. You've got the video you can watch, and then you can click here to get downloads. Now these are paid downloads. The ones for this other one we're doing right now, I think we're going to make those free downloads. You're not going to have to pay for them. We'll see what happens. So this lesson isn't up there on the programming yet. It will be. We're just making the video for it first, because at the moment the programming goes up to selection sort and quick sort. Okay, so this one will be here, this one about linking screens. We'll get that one up on the programming site and you can go to it. All right, so that's our full programming course. There's lots of stuff there. If you do that in order, you will be well set up to build yourself applications in Visual Basic. Now we better just wrap this video up. Okay, so thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoyed the video and it helps you out. So remember, you can go to the download link in the video description and get the downloads for this lesson, and also subscribe to our channel. Subscribe, and like this video. Make sure you give it a big thumbs up like. because we're always adding new videos about doing things in IT, be it programming or even Adobe stuff like Photoshop and Animate and Excel and Access in Microsoft Office. So we've got lots and lots of things there. So check it out and subscribe to our channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video, in the next lesson, which will be the next video.